Hello guys, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be solving LeetCode 54 spiral matrix. This is marked as a medium problem, but in my opinion it's actually kind of difficult, but again we're going to go through it. We're not scared of these problems. Okay, so again feel free to pause the video to read through what the question is asking. However, I find it easier to explain through the examples. So given a grid like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we want to print the numbers, the contents of this grid in a spiral method. So the input is a 2D array of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like I said, we want to print spiral. If you can picture it from this picture right here, we want to print it going this way. And this is straightforward in my opinion, so let's get to coding. So the first step, when I say a question like this, I typically think of some kind of while loop. Okay, some kind of while loop that will just keep going and keep iterating through the contents of this 2D array. And just some people could think nested for loops, to be honest. I feel like you could do it too, but I think while loop is easier. But first step, I'm going to define my output variable. And guess what I'm going to call it? Yeah, output. Okay, as an empty list. Okay, because that is what we've been requested to get. Okay, next I'm going to define the size of this output, what this output should be. And keep in mind that since we're printing, this is a 2D array, I'll say n by m. Since we're printing all the contents of this, then the size of our output should just be n multiplied by m. So I'm going to say size is going to equal to length of our grid. In this case, it's called matrix, or matrix, or whatever. Okay, multiply, which is the rows of matrix, multiplied by the columns of matrix, which is when programming, I like to copy and paste as much as possible because it avoids some of these typographical errors. Okay, matrix of index 0. So all we're doing is multiplying the length of the rows by the length of the columns. Okay, we have that down. So now I'm going to define my bounds of the matrix. We know the left spot, I'm going to call it left. The left spot is going to be the 0 index in terms of rows. Okay, so I'm going to say left 0, my bounds. Right spot is just going to be the length of the columns, okay, minus 1, because here 1, 2, 3, 4, if arrays are 0 bound, if this is 0, this is going to be 2, because 0, 1, 2, so right, it's going to be equal to, like I said, the length of the column of the matrix minus 1. Okay, now we have to do the same thing for our top. Top, just like our left is going to be 0 because our top is right here. Now our bottom, okay, is going to be the same thing as the length of the column minus 1, because if this is 0, this is 1, this is 2. So bottom, okay, just similar to right, but keep in mind here's the length of the rows. Okay, so now at this point, just gonna comment. Defining bounds. Okay, we've defined all our bounds. Okay, so now we're going to iterate through the matrix. Okay, so first step, before we use our while loop, I just want to picture it and just see what's going on. Okay, so first step is an if statement. Okay, actually let's not use the if for now. Okay, so let's think about this. If we want to start here, want to iterate through the first row, okay, all the columns of the first row. And how would you do it? I'm just gonna say for I in range. Okay, what range? Keep in mind we're iterating from the left to the right, so we're just gonna do left to right. Okay, but keep in mind in Python the range method is inclusive of the lower bound but exclusive of the upper bound, so we would need to put a +1 right here, +1. Otherwise, if we don't put this +1, it's just going to iterate. Say for instance, say left is 0 and right is 2, 0, 1, 2, is going to iterate 0, 1. So we need to put this +1 because it's exclusive of the upper bound, so we need to add 1 so it gets the right in there. Then when we iterate this, what do we want to do? Okay, we want to, as we iterate through this, we want to append to our output variable whatever numbers we're seeing. So we want to say output. Okay, output.append. Okay, what do we want to append? We want to append matrix. Okay, Control Z, Control C. When I append the matrix, okay, off. Okay, since we're iterating, the row is not changing, but the columns are. Okay, we're on this top row. The row is not changing, so I'm just gonna say top. We're on the top row. However, our columns are changing, so we're gonna say that I. Okay, then outside of this loop, once we're done iterating this first loop, this first row, guess what we're gonna have to do? We're gonna have to update our top row, because this, we've got the values for this. We need to pop him out of the our search. We don't need to look for him anymore. So our top row is gonna become this row now. Okay, so I'm just gonna update top variable plus equals 1. Okay, that's just for the top one. Okay, now at this point we're right here. We want to iterate downwards. Okay, so we're iterating from the top to the bottom. Again, it's a similar fashion to what we just did. So I'm gonna say for I in range. Okay, we're iterating from top to bottom. So top, bottom. Again, +1, because the range is inclusive of the lower limit, but exclusive of the upper limit. Okay, now what do we want to do? Similar to this, I'm going to do a whole lot of copy and pasting. Okay, I'm going to do a whole lot of copy and pasting right now. Okay, what do we want to do? We want to append. We're iterating from here to here. Okay, so meaning our right column is not changing, but however our rows are changing. So the row is going to be I, and this is going to be right. At this point, once we get here, we know we've used this right column. We don't have to update it. We don't have to save him anymore. Okay, we've taken all the values in here. So now we're going to have to update his value and push him inside. So to push him inside, you're going to have to subtract 1. So it's going to be right minus equal 1. Okay, so this was for this. So at this point, we're right here. We want to go this way. Okay, again, it's going to be similar. A lot of copy and paste. Okay, since we want to do this, we're iterating from right to left at the bottom, from right to left. So again, we're going to use similar left to right +1 +1. Okay, however, we want it in the opposite direction, not in the direction it's currently is. So the good thing is that Python has something called a reverse function, okay, which we're gonna use right now. So we're gonna say reverse, call this, so it kind of iterates backwards. Okay, so reverse. Okay, so now what do we want to do? The bottom row is not changing, however the columns are. So the bottom row stays the same. This is gonna be bottom. Okay, bottom. Let me make sure okay, good, spelling correctly. However, the columns are changing. Okay, and then outside of this, what do we want to do? At this point, we've used the bottom, so we want to move our bottom up. We move bottom up by subtracting 1 from bottom. Okay, cool. Okay, let me just give us some space. Let me kind of shrink this a little bit. Oh, okay, now I'll leave it for now. Okay, now we want to iterate this portion. Okay, from the bottom to the top on the left side. It's very similar. So bottom to top on the left side. Okay, we want to iterate from the bottom to the top. So here is going to be top, bottom. Okay, so then the column isn't changing. Column is going to stay the same. Column is going to be the left, right? However, the row is changing. So row is going to be I, column is going to be left. Okay, and then at the end, we want to update our left to shift in, So we're going to add 1 to left. So at this point, we've only gone around this. So, but how do we go inside? We've gone full circle around, but now we want to go inside. Okay, now to go inside, we'll have to surround all of this in a while loop. So something like this. Just tab. While what? Okay, we want to keep going around this in such a way that while size, or we can say while length of our outputs. Keep in mind we keep updating as we go through the array. So while the length of our output is less than our size variable. All right, this looks okay. Let's go ahead and run it and see what happens. It says there's a wrong answer. Why is there a wrong answer? Oh, output is empty. Oh, okay, yeah. So it's the wrong answer because we're not returning the output. Okay, at the end of the function we have to return. It's a freaking function. Okay, so let's go ahead and return. Okay, let's try one more time. Okay, boom, accepted. So let's go ahead and submit it and see what happens. Oh, so we failed. Okay, why did we fail? We failed for a test case where we go all the way up to 12. And the reason for failing is, so for this input, here's the output we got. However, this is the output that's expected. So it's pretty much identical, just that there's an extra 6 in there. Okay, there's an additional 6. And I think if we go back to the description, I think this is the test case it's failing for. Okay, good. I think for this test case, it goes around the matrix, goes in here, 7, but then comes back out 1 for 6. And the way to get rid of this, at least the quickest way to get rid of it, is adding an if statement to each block. So I'm gonna do something like this. So I'm gonna say if, do this block only if this is the condition. Okay, I'm gonna indent this guy. Okay, I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna add it to all the other blocks. Okay, you know what, I'm just gonna indent all those guys. Okay, so now let's run the code one more time. See if everything still looks good. Okay, accepted. Now let's go ahead and submit it. Bam. So we're faster than 81% of solutions, which is impressive. However, as far as memory, we're using 27% less than most people, so which is not too bad. But again, it makes sense because we're creating a few variables in here. So that's it for the video, guys. I hope it was helpful. Feel free to tune in. We're gonna have a part 2 of this video where we actually step through the code so you guys can see what's actually going on in this code. With that being said, I hope you guys have a good night. Thank you.